In 1881, Dale Carnegie purchased 400 acres of land in south-central Pennsylvania to capitalize on the region's natural iron-making resources. The company town which grew here was called Scotia, after Carnegie's homeland of Scotland. That town has faded along with the prominence of the iron industry in Centre County. What remains is a tract of open land called the Scotia Barrens.
The reason why this area remains open is because of those land holdings that were part of that industry. Most of this area is owned and managed by the Pennsylvania Game Commission as State Game Lands 176. We are actually on an adjoining property right now called the Haw Tract that was conserved by Patton Township through their open space preservation program. 465 acres that was purchased for approximately $2 million by the township from a private landowner. The property was valued multiple times that amount. So the generosity of the landowner allowed that to happen. They were able to leave a legacy for the community by conserving this and buffering the game lands for more development. They've been maintained as open space because, as they're called barrens, they're not very productive for agriculture.
Although the soil here does not lend itself to growing crops, this area's unique geography, from deep in its bedrock to the tips of its trees, makes the Scotia Barrens significant for other reasons.
The Scotia Barrens is underlain by Gatesburg geology. It produces soils that are very porous. They have a lot of sand. Most of the water, when it falls as rainfall or snow, it percolates down through into the groundwater aquifer and is actually a very important component to the Spring Creek watershed, which is the watershed that we are in. It travels through underground conduits towards Bellefonte and comes up in Big Spring, the second largest spring in Pennsylvania. So this area is very important to the base flow of Spring Creek because of the significant volume of water that we're talking about.
The Scotia Barrens is one of the largest examples of scrub-shrub pitch pine habitat left in Pennsylvania. The surrounding mountain ridges trap cool air, creating frost pockets which stunt the growth of vegetation.
There's lots of early successional habitat species that are in decline because early successional habitat is on the decline in Pennsylvania as our forests are maturing. During migration, there's over 30 species of warblers that have been sighted here. So it's extremely important from an avian perspective. They really need reserves like this to be able to maintain their populations. We're sitting next to a vernal pool, one of many that is located here. Vernal pools are seasonal pools, so they fill each spring and sometimes in the fall from runoff from rainwater, snowmelt. Groundwater can fill them, and they provide important breeding habitat for many species of amphibians. These animals visit these pools to breed a few days out of the year. The rest of the time, they're in this, what we call the critical upland habitat that surrounds each pool. The reason we want to conserve these pools is because of the amphibians and some of the unique invertebrates that completely rely on them for their survival. In order to protect those species, the spotted salamanders, wood frogs, Jefferson salamanders, spring peepers, marbled salamanders, you have to protect the critical upland habitat that surrounds each pool. Otherwise, you'll still have a wetland, but you're not going to have the species that depend on it.
As it happens, salamanders and invertebrates like fairy shrimp may not be the only ones who depend on the environment of the Scotia Barrens for their continued well-being.
We are just outside of State College, where Penn State University is, and the area is growing. We are paving over these high recharge areas, places where that great Gatesburg formation occurs. And so if you pave over it, you're not letting water filter through. So it's very important from a groundwater recharge perspective that we try to keep the Gatesburg region as unpaved as possible, as it's important not only for the base flow of Spring Creek, but also for drinking water resources for the community.
Clearwater Conservancy partnered with the Purple Lizard, a local cartographer, to create an educational trail map to help people better understand, appreciate, and do their part to preserve the Scotia Barrens.
Not only show people how to navigate around the Scotia Barrens, but also teach them about the ecological resources, the water resources, the historic resources. The Foundation for Pennsylvania Watersheds helped Clearwater Conservancy initiate our Scotia Barrens Conservation Project and educate the local community, including the townships, about the importance of this gem that's in their region.